All right. Thank you for joining us for our community stories featuring Unity Village. This is, I have lost count in our series, our 20th some community to feature in Durham, learning about the history of communities in Durham, especially Black and underrepresented communities, but really just any community in Durham, learning about the history so that we can celebrate the history and hold on to it as we continue to move into the future. I'm really excited to have several members of Unity Village on with us today. And as you can see in the screen, they're all together. If you're not familiar, this is using a device called an owl. So the device will move around as people are talking and you'll get to see everyone that's there. Thank you for joining us. And if you are joining us from Unity Village, and you can share in the chat if you are from the area or if you know anything about it as we're going, if you have any questions. And yeah, I'm so excited to learn. I've known Mr. Chestnut for a long time, working with the city of Durham, and especially through PAC4. So I'm excited to learn more about his community, which is over 50 years old. And during our rehearsal, it was an amazing time getting started, as always. So thank you to the city of Durham for allowing us to host these events, and for our community engagement team for helping us to put them together. And at this time, I will turn it over to Lamanda Pryor to introduce everyone who's joining us from Unity Village. Thank you.
Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited to be here. As you can tell, we are Unity Village. We are here in unity. That's right. We're all together. I'm going to start off first by just introducing who's in the room, and then we're going to go through just a little history about Unity Village. And then we'll just start with some stories, just letting you all know more about Unity Village and who we are and how we come to be. But to my right, I have Harold Chestnut. You could introduce yourself and we're going on.
I'm Harold Chestnut.
I'm Renee Tyler.
I'm Sandra Harris Mathers. Beverly Briggs.
James Sumter.
Mary Sumter. Sylvia Valentine Knight.
Earl Chestnut.
And we make up who's talking with you today about Unity Village. As they said, we over 50 years old, and I think it's very important to kind of know how the Unity Village come to be. I'm going to ask Harold Chestnut, who's happened to be my dad, to tell you a little bit about how did we even come to know of a Unity Village.
Unity Village was developed in 1968 when Ben Ruffin, Joe Parker from Walkaway Bank, and Duke spearheaded a project to build 101 houses, affordable houses in the southeast Durham between Austin Avenue and Baker Street. The project was formed out several other banks and insurance companies who each agreed to pay for a number of houses to be built. Once the house was secured, Roberts Construction Company built the houses, and the project was completed in 1969. The community come with a 3.3 acre park, which was built in the middle of the community, and at that time only had a shelter. In 1969, the average age of the homeowners was 40, with each house had about 5 to 8 children. Like most young communities, we had our problems, like where would our kids go to school? How would they get there? These issues motivated the community to establish the Unity Village Community Organization. The organization big thing and next big task to do were to look at the park, get equipment for the park. The issue motivated the community to establish the Unity Village community, organize the park, and years later, the park even had a bigger issue where we tried to get a restaurant put in it. The issue took us to seek the help of our district city council, Howard Clemens. Mr. Clemens worked closer with us and getting the restroom and the entire park renewed. He also helped with several other neighborhood improvement, such as sidewalk for the children to walk to our and her school. A fence around the canal that was on Bacon Street that the kids was fishing in, and we was afraid that someone might fall in. A city bus, because we didn't have a bus at the time. The bus line wasn't coming at the time, so it was established transportation for those people that couldn't get to work. We put more streetlights in and more speed humps. And at that time, he really helped us to have more police patrol. Today, the community organization is still going strong. We continue to do things to improve the neighborhood, keep it free of unsightly cars, trees, and garbage. We stay visual to keep our area free of crime. And our once low-income neighborhood that become a middle income. Comes to still trying to buy a home. We remain closely knit. We support each other through the good and the bad times. We have our annual National Night Out, our Christmas party, and we still meet once a month to address the concerns that the community might have. If anyone else like to add something to this,
We kind of just tell, how did you come to Unity Village? Because it's over 50 years old, and all of us have different ways that we come to Unity Village. So we can just kind of tell, how do we get there? How did you all get this thought? How did you get there? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Sandra Harris Leathers. I speak for James Alfonso and Barbara Harris. My parents come from Wilmington, North Carolina. They moved in McDougall Terrace, and we stayed in McDougall Terrace for 16 long years. And from 16 long years, my parents decided they needed a home, and the home they got, they talked to Mr. Roberts, and we were able to get a house at 2006 Madeline Avenue. And Daddy brought his 7 kids and my mom, and that house is still standing today.
What year did you all move in?
We moved down there when it first started open, because my sister Diane, just like you said, but I graduated in 2 more years. And so when we come down, it was in between 69 and going on 70, because I turned 18 to
So you all
graduate.
was one that right behind us.
And we were one of the
it was
first
the same
ones.
day that we did.
And we were one of the first ones right along with y'all. Like I said, we right there behind each other and everything. And my dad and my mom, like I said, they were blessed to get that house, and that house is still standing today and still livable today.
Yes, it is.
And like I say, we come a long ways, but we're still doing what we have to do. And UNITY, Unity is a beautiful place, a nice home place for everyone to stay, to develop your children and everything. And it's ongoing, and people try to get along with one another. You always have your ups and your downs, but we do what we have to do. And I'm one of those that, where mom and dad is gone, I'm trying to do what need to be done to keep on keeping that troop it up. I'm gonna do what I have to do.
So it was able to have their first home at, or they
That was-
already.
That was their first home.
That's good. Yeah.
And like I said, we were from that little church. We stayed there 16 long years. I'm an example. I was 16 when we moved to Unity Village.
That's right.
Glad to be in Unity Village. We got a home now.
That's right.
And I
That's
said,
right.
hallelujah. And then my husband finally got him a house. He got a house, and then he finally got his first car. He got him a bird. And he said, "Well, my God," he said, "I finally got me a car, a brand new car." So we started and we did what we had to do. My parents were troopers, and like I said,
Yeah.
we didn't stop. We kept on going, and this is what we do. 7 kids.
Yeah.
And we're blessed. Like I said, we have a baby brother. He was the captain of the sheriff department in Durham, North Carolina, Stanley Harris. We still standing. We have preachers in our home. We stand it. We try to send our kids to school. Hey, that's a mandatory.
Like I
thing.
said, we all had to go to
Once you
school,
come
right?
out of high school, you need to go to somebody's college. We send them kids to school, and we do what we need to do. This is mandatory from our parents and everything. They were hardworking people.
Miss
And that's
Beverly,
what we do.
how did you get in?
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful Sandra. I came in with my parents and my siblings, Dutchie Frazier, and my father, Willie James Frazier, and my other two siblings and two brothers. And so we came in the latter part of 69, early 70, into Unity Village, and it was a beautiful place. We had our own home and our own rooms, which we had a 4-bedroom. The two girls had their room, the two boys had theirs. I had mine, and my mother and father had theirs. So we all enjoyed, and it was a beautiful community. And then we learned more about some of the people that was there, which was very nice people, very friendly. And then the brothers and sisters learned of the others that was about their age. And they were happy that they were friendly as well. So they got along very well. And so that's how we came at the terrace, which now we are called, anytime we see the ones that we were there with, they call us Mac babies. And so we were Mac babies, and we've been Mac babies, grown but Mac babies ever since.
So y'all went, just to clarify, Matt Terrace at the time was a housing authority.
Yes.
And so being able to have home ownership and moving into Unity Village.
Yes.
Yes,
And that's
indeed,
what it
very
was.
good.
It was-
Yes,
it
indeed.
was-
In the Sumter,
Okay, James and I, we had the Valentines were taking care of our children over here, but we lived on the West End, on Gunter Street on the West End. In 1983, James came over this way and he saw the house and we knew the Valentines. So in 1983, we moved over here with our two sons, Michael and James, and they went to school in the neighborhoods and everything. And like you said, we were from an educated family. My daddy had 10 children, but we lived in the Fuquay Arena area. So I was determined after I came to Central, saw the bright lights in the city, I'm not going back to Fuquay Arena, but now it's the place to be.
So
you
you
know.
came, when you came to Durham, you was through Central.
I came
And
to
then
Central.
that's when you met
I met,
Mr. James.
yeah, I met my husband. But anyway, yeah, and we stayed, and I stayed here, and we eventually got married in 69, and he's been 68. 68.
How did you see Unity Village? When you came with the kids, how did you see find the home?
Well, I came over here one Sunday morning and I saw the house empty. For sale, and I came back, went back to the house, got back to the house, I told her about it. Monday, went out and put an application in. She
Yeah.
approved, so I said, okay.
Yeah, we moved on, but like I said, we knew the Valentines, so
Right.
they kept our children when we were over on Yancey Street on the West End. And then they had the nursery over here, so it was an easy transition from the Yancey Street nursery to over.
The Valentine.
To the Valentine.
I kept a lot.
Lot of
kids.
children,
A lot of
yes.
kids came through there.
Yes.
Even though I was in the neighborhood, I came through there. I told them I wanted to come eat. So how did the Valentine's here?
Well, I'm a product of James and Annie Valentine. Those are my parents. My parents moved in Unity Village in 1969.
Yeah.
I was
You wanted-
7. So we was one of the first
Yeah.
as well. And we
Wow.
stayed at the bottom of the hill, hard side,
Mhm.
with near the Fraziers.
Mhm.
We had was raised there. It was 5 of us, 4-bedroom house. The girls, 3 of the girls stayed in the room, bunk beds. The older children had their own room. I had one brother, he had his
Oh,
own
yeah.
room.
Mhm.
My parents had a room, my oldest had a room, and then the other 3 girls. But it was a loving neighborhood, a lot of unity. We had to do a lot of things, together that's why I met most of my friends. We went to R and Harris together,
Mhm.
Whitey Smith, Shepherd, Hillside,
Yeah.
and some of us lucky if we went to North Carolina. And became Eagles. So, yeah, that was, I could not have another better childhood than, to be raised in Unity Village. The house is still standing now. we still have a home. My mom had a daycare business for, wow, I'm gonna say about 48 years.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
long
yes.
time.
Until she retired.
A lot of people
And-
came through there.
Yeah, and so we had a lot of family gatherings at the house. A lot of community, my parents was in the community,
You went
unity
to
village
RS.
community after we got grown and moved on. And, but we still part of Unity Village and where we
And that's
go.
something, a lot of houses, we still have.
So you
Yeah.
had that sidewalk,
Orange Harris,
We
yes.
put that Orange Harris, we walked in mud.
you walked
Right.
So
through
we
mud.
couldn't walk in the street. So we had to, my dad said, you stay out of the street. So we, by the time you got to school, your shoes muddy, come back home mud. So yes, I do remember when the sidewalk was put. It was a long after we had
So
that.
you got to go to Orange Harris, but I'm 2 years older. We didn't get to go to Orange Harris. We went to Orange Harris, caught the bus to go to Y.E. Smith.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I think at that time, you only did 3 grades.
Yeah, on
And then you had
here.
to go to
Y.E.
White
Smith.
So
Middle
I
school.
was already in 4th grade, so I started going to Y.E. Smith. I never got to go to Orange Harris.
Yeah, Orange Harris.
What's your first memory of Unity Village?
If I'm not mistaken, I think dad worked for Bobby Roberts. And I think Bobby Roberts told mommy that they were gonna build some houses over there, and they told dad to go investigate. And that's when I think dad went over
He's a
there.
daddy. You talking about, he's a daddy.
Oh, granddaddy.
Yeah, my
Okay.
granddad worked
Oh.
for Bobby Roberts, and granddad told mommy about those building the houses over there in that area, and told dad and them to go over there, and I think dad and them went over there, and they said he was building them, and to put the paperwork in to be a part of the that neighborhood. And if I'm recollecting, I think that's how we got from over there, because we stayed on Burlington Avenue, and we moved from Burlington over to Unity Village. But the one thing about when mom was picking out the houses, mom said she wanted to stay on top of the hill because she said she didn't want that water draining. And so that water drained down. So mom picked the house at the top of the hill, and that's why we stayed over there. But the thing what I like about Unity Village was that when we first moved over there was a lot of children. And there's one person, I gotta say there's one person, Stanley, Sonya brother, used to always, we had a path. And in that path, it's funny because the path came through 3 houses. And it was funny, nobody never complained because the kid
No
would
one
use the
never
path
complained about
and
that
go
path.
to the park. They always use that path. But Sonya brother Stanley was the one that always had that white T-shirt on, and he would be dirty, and mama said, Stanley, you in that dirty T-shirt, let me check it. I'm gonna take it off when I get home. I won't take it off when I get home. But that's the thing about Unity Village was that it was a lot of neighbors that were really, really friendly, and we grew together. We all went to school together. The bus stop really was over, putting it right in front of the school, the yard, the first bus stop. So we had to catch the city bus right there, so everybody had to come down. There would be a lot of kids catching that bus, down there. So we saw the neighborhood. I saw the neighborhood grow because I went over there in my 10th grade year, Hillside. And at first, Unity Village really wasn't in the Hillside district. It was in the Southern district. And I think Dad and Patricia had the line moved. The line was moved, but the line was from Pettigrew all the way down to Ellis Road. So that covered Unity Village. And I told mom, I said, I'm not going to Southern. I'm staying with grandma. I'm not going up there. Because Southern at that time still had that reputation.
Yeah.
So Dad and Patricia.
Because it
had
really
that-
was an African-American school,
Right.
to be honest, at the time.
So Dad petitioned, and we had the line moved, and so they ended up Unity Village.
Today, it was Valentine and several more was that petition to move, have our kids move here.
Yeah.
Because remember, we went to school was Durham City Schools,
Right.
and then Durham County
County
Schools.
schools, and we was in it.
And we was in the-
That
we
line
was in
by
the
Austin
county for a
Avenue
while.
was the county.
The county, right.
So we wasn't, right, so we had.
Well, you know what John Walton knew where the store is.
Yeah.
That used to be the city line stop right there where that store is on Austin Avenue. You remember where the store is right there?
Yes.
Where campus here before it was built all wood, that line stopped right there. We thought the line was in the county. So Dad and them had that sign, county, that line moved all the way back,
But the thing was with moving that line, they didn't take into consideration that the junior high school kids and the high school kids were gonna need school buses. They didn't put school buses.
Mhm.
They had to ride the
Yeah.
city bus, and that went on for years. Even when I got to Shepherd, we still had to ride the city school, city bus, and stop at the corner of Athens and Hartside. We had to get city bus tickets every week to catch the city bus to school.
That's what made me say it, Renee, because we didn't catch the city bus. We had to walk.
No,
So
we
we
caught the city
We would
bus.
cut through the path, not Ebenezer, Western Baptist,
Western.
and come out at the store. We'll walk all around Alta Avenue and cut through where Burger King
The
is.
guy had to walk to
Okay.
Shepherd.
Well, Burger King wasn't there.
Wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
It was another path behind that little creek. And we had to we crossed,
55.
55 and then get hit by a car and made it to school. Yeah,
When we caught the city bus, I don't know, like I'm older than you, like, we caught the city bus.
Right.
in Shepherd.
The
Yeah.
thing that brought about the school bus was that they told this child,
This happened,
No, this
we
was
been
long
out
before
way
she-
before
long
them.
Before she changed.
We were after them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 'cause they
The city
changed.
buses didn't come to, I think, until I was like in the 9th or 10th grade.
yeah, I thought.
I mean, I'm sorry, the school bus.
Right.
The first school bus
Mhm.
came when she went to Burton.
They had
Right.
redistrict us
Yes,
and we
right.
could no longer go to the
Oh,
White
yeah.
Smith.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, we can go to our Harris, we could go to White Smith. And they made us go to Burton over in the McDougal area. And at the time, they wanted us all to walk. But our parents was like, that's kind of, in the area, and then we had to go straight through McDougal. And at the time, it was becoming kind of rough.
Okay.
And so I remember Dad and Mom, I think Mr. Valentine was like, no, they're not walking.
Right,
And
right.
so they had to go petition the school. I remember that day, the first day, first of all, they didn't tell us that we had got removed, we had gotten transferred the first day. And they was like, they're not walking. But your dad, my dad, they were like, they're not walking. I don't know what y'all gonna do, but they're gonna get a bus. They're gonna get a city bus. They went to the school board.
So how many years you do at Burton?
2,
2 years, okay.
Mhm.
2 years.
we did 2, then we went to Shepherd.
Then with the Shepherd. Yeah, 'cause we,
And I know some of the kids, my children went to R and Harris.
Yeah,
One went to, not R and Harris, he went to, over on Cornwallis. What's on? Cornwallis?
Feather Street.
No,
Right,
not Fairview
yeah.
Street.
Right.
Rogers Harris.
Oh,
The oldest one went to,
Middle school. was the
okay,
junior
junior high
high school.
school. He can go to Shepherd. I don't
Okay.
know.
Mike went to Shepherd.
Michael went to Shepherd.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow,
wow.
James
But-
wasn't.
No,
You had to go to
no,
Rogers Harris?
he went to Rogers Harris.
Wow.
He went to
Yeah.
Rogers Harris,
Yeah.
but then Michael went to Shepherd.
But see, we went to Shepherd.
Mhm.
All of us went to Shepherd
Mhm.
from junior high school.
Yeah.
That was one of the
Y'all-
problems that we had to fight,
Mm.
to where our kids was going to school at
Mm.
And how we
and
would
how
do
they
that.
was gonna get
Right,
there.
right.
Because the city was bad about correcting stuff for neighborhood.
for city schools,
For
children.
city school.
Yes.
It was really bad about that.
Mhm,
So we really had to fight hard
mhm.
to get the buses over there. Get not only the school bus over there, but get the city bus over there.
And see, the county schools got all the funds. When it came to Durham city schools, I can remember so well when we used to play Northern, we went to Northern High School, they had everything. They had the best uniforms, they had the best buses, they had the best help team. And we was just as good.
Mhm.
But this, we had the county and the city. And even when it come to the books, even with some of the subjects and and just the school period. They didn't give the funds to Hillside. Or,
I
Shepherd.
think one thing I learned from Unity Village is that because y'all fought as a group,
Right.
Right.
Got a
y'all
lot
would
done.
come together as a group.
Yeah.
I think one of the
They
best
heard
things
us.
here, I think one of the best things was when Dad organized the community. And with the organization, we became Dad and became
Like
stronger.
Ms. Brinkley,
I remember we had the first
Dad,
meeting.
Ms. Thompson.
Yeah, when Dad first organized the Unity Village, and then we had that big meeting, and from there, I think we sort of like took off. I think the city decided to take it seriously because, we wanted the same thing they wanted the same thing for their kids, everybody else did.
Right,
And
right.
we was organized, when you organize, we.
Like our city councilman Howard said, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
And he did, he fought for us
So
too.
it's that Your parents had, our parents had, your parents had all the same concerns. So when y'all get together and realize, oh, we're concerned about the same thing, then you can all fight for the same thing.
And we can't forget the webs.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
web,
yeah,
the web,
This
Yeah,
web,
Miss Webb.
the web.
Oh,
yeah,
that whole line there.
the web,
They just explore y'all.
the fries,
Miss Lindsay and all.
Miss
Miss
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
One that stayed across the street in front of the red side of the park. They had the two girls.
Miss Day,
Who stayed.
Yes.
Yes.
Racial Day.
yep, Miss
Yeah.
Grace
Yeah.
Day.
I remember back in the day, you know, we had trick or treating, Halloween,
Christmas.
Christmas with the
Oh, Christmas was-
bicycles.
Christmas was the best.
This was the absolute best.
Yes,
All the kids would come out on bicycles
Yes.
and skates and all kinds of.
That was a
things. It
good time, but
just-
we had our,
just
we had our
Yes.
struggles in getting this stuff done.
Mhm.
Especially, they gave us this park with nothing in it but a shelter, so, Mr. Valentine used to complain all the time about that park.
Yes, my dad did.
Yeah.
Y'all gave the neighborhood
And,
without
and-
park.
and then we had no bathroom in the park.
Right.
That really got on his nerve.
Right. You know, they used to have a luncheon in the park.
Yeah.
Summertime, you had to go and get your lunch.
Miss Navy was in charge of that. I worked with that program, Miss Navy wasn't, Miss Navy had, Miss Navy, worked with the, Durham Public School, and they used to provide lunches in the
Yes,
summertime.
yes.
And Miss Navy, they used to be funny because the lunches came all the way out from Chewing and delivered the lunches all in the different parks all over. So Miss Navy was really responsible for that, make sure everybody had lunches. And, that was something, she
Yes.
made sure the Unity Village had lunch too.
It took us several times to get that park built, 'cause
Mhm.
every time we would build it up to a certain height and leave it overnight, someone would tear it down.
Mhm.
They would come and knock the stones.
Mhm.
I guess they did that about 3 times, and trying to build that,
The bathroom.
bathroom. So finally, Howard says, okay, we're gonna put an officer in that park for the night, so they wouldn't turn it bathroom down. So we had to have an officer in that park watching the bathroom for them to build it.
Wow.
That was so-
I think I said,
Yeah.
it was yesterday, home ownership to me is always the first thing of wealth for
Mhm.
African Americans.
Mhm.
But then the other thing is education.
Mhm.
And I, as you all was talking, I said, you know, all our families believe you were going to school.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't care if the bus missed, someone missed us, you getting in somebody's car, some neighbor and taking us all to school. But you were not going to miss school.
It's two things that we believed in at the time. It's staying school
Mhm.
and voting.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Voting was one of the things that we really believed in.
Mhm.
Make sure your kid get to school
Mhm.
and make sure that you go vote.
Mhm.
Okay, who you vote for, but vote.
Yes, right.
So
And
we
going to
even,
church.
we were fought to get the precinct changed from, we used to go to Burton to vote.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
I'm going.
So long.
Okay.
When we were little, I would stand in line with either him or mom and watch that whole voting
That's-
process.
that was me. I was-
Them to do
I was-
that.
That's one of the best things
And
you
then-
ever do. Take
But I think on top of it, what it really was, is matter was, I think what Sonia was saying, a matter of pride, that, they own a home,
Mhm.
you know, as Black people.
Mhm.
You know, that was a pride thing. We finally got our, something that we can own
Yes.
ourselves, you know, and raise our families. So it was a pride thing, you know, like home ownership, you know, like what the word they use today, generational wealth. You know, that was the thing, you know, yeah.
I remember so well, my parents, as I got older, said the house was, I think it was $20,000 then. And the mortgage was 200 a month. Can you imagine now?
Wow.
They had, we were looking at that, when they built the home, the biggest thing that, Parker had was the price of the home.
Mhm.
Could the people afford to pay $160, $170 a month?
Right.
That high price
Mhm.
at that
Mhm.
time
Mhm.
for a mortgage.
Mhm.
So he fought to keep it at 100, Parker from Walkover Bank,
Right.
keep it at $160 a month.
Mhm.
The name.
Did y'all have to put money on it? With the money
No
down?
payment,
No.
No
we
money
had to put
down.
anything down.
No money down.
Yeah, it was.
No money
That was- that
down.
was a blessing.
It was brick
That was-
houses.
Huh?
I
Yeah.
mean,
A
Brick
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 house
house.
with no money
a
down.
brick house, this
We had four
it was
bedrooms.
just a blessing. It was just, I'm so excited now because my parents were excited.
Yes,
Right.
they were.
We come from McDougal first,
We did.
and then we made this big move.
Yes.
We're going to a house.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're taking our children with us.
Yes.
Mhm.
My mom and daddy had 4 girls and 3 boys, so 7 of us, mom
Yes.
and dad.
That's right.
And he was proud, like I said, then he finally got him a new,
car.
brand new car.
Yeah.
And he
And
was
like-
excited to
and-
get, and took care, and he was able to pay their bills and stuff. and
Yes.
Back
Take care
then,
of their family,
I
feed
remember that.
us,
I remember
take
that.
care of us.
back then, $160, $170, a lot of
That was a
money.
lot of money.
It's a lot of
They
money.
were-
Yeah, that was a lot
They
of
was
money.
determined to make it, and they made it.
But now when you go on the website, because I went on the website today, looking at the houses that have been sold in the
Oh,
last
wow.
3 or 4
I-
years,
Mhm.
$217,000
That's right.
house.
Yeah.
It's like,
Look at this point.
Yeah, 'cause I was looking, I was
Hey.
trying to find exactly, could I see exactly when Miss Amy Johnson? because
Just
she was
name the
the
Jones
first
thing,
person
'cause
to do
this-
it. But on the website, it only tells you the year, and
Mhm.
as I was looking, it showed me who owned the house now,
Mhm.
how
Right,
much they
right.
paid for it.
Right.
And I went, what?
Yes.
What did Miss Amy Jones do?
Right across the street, kind of corner from our house.
200. That was
202 Athens Street.
At that corner house right there by the path?
No, she lived next door to it. She lived next door.
She was the first person in Unity Village.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, and we looked at what her house was, what she
She
bought
paid
it for,
14,500.
and what it
Yeah.
was worth, and what it was worth today. We looked at it this morning.
Mhm.
Her
I
house
did
today
too.
was worth $204,000.
That's right, that's right.
We were close though. We were
Mhm.
close because when she passed away, it was me and Curtis that went in and found her.
Oh.
Because she
She lived by herself.
she was by
She lived
herself.
always.
Mhm.
Amy Jones, Amy Jones.
Mhm.
His name was Jones.
At that time, she was the mother of the
For the
community.
community, and she hadn't been out in a while. And I think she had something with Fulton where when she got up, she put the curtain open, and the
Mhm.
curtain never opened,
Let her know that.
to let her know she was okay.
Let her know
Right.
that-
Yeah,
let her know that she was okay.
and Miss Fulton was like, hey, you all go over there and see about it.
And that's an
Because she
eight.
didn't put.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
and we
they-
went
that's what
over
they
there,
was
we went over. we
Yeah,
went over
a lot of care.
And that's what it's
Right.
always has been there.
Right.
And what you got, I have, and we
That's
gonna take care,
right.
and don't worry about them children, the kids are very well. taken
right.
We had a lot of kids,
Yeah.
we had a lot of kids.
You know,
When
we got a lot of stuff.
those kids go to the park,
Somebody.
yes, her mother said, it's time to leave that park.
Right.
Everybody,
You listen.
they scattered like rats. They left that park,
Yeah,
and you have better go home.
yes.
That's right.
But see, the safety, I felt safe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I really felt safe in the neighborhood.
Right.
Like, 'cause she was, well, she went everywhere, and she was young. She went by herself. She was on her bike, she went, and she come home and I was at Miss Valentine's, oh, so-and-so.
right.
Y'all probably practice a band.
Yeah.
Oh,
Goes a
that
lot.
time,
That
yeah.
unity was there, felt that love.
And you never heard
And we
any
never
children
thought
being,
twice about it.
children being disrespectful. to
Oh,
another
no,
parent.
no,
You
no.
know.
I be respectful to an adult.
Right.
We had a lot of pride in the community because I can remember we started a beautiful, yard business. Who has the
Beautification.
beautification
Yeah.
yard? We would donate $50 or so much money to, yeah, who had the best yard.
Right.
I missed that.
Sonia, what's the, I didn't know. Sonia done that.
Came home and we had.
What's the lady name? Sonia live beside y'all. She had a pretty yard. Her name.
Stay.
What's her name? But she passed away.
On this side,
On the right side of y'all
I
house.
think the ad.
Miss Johnson,
Miss Johnson Lee was,
What's their last name?
oh, Miss Lynn's is on.
Right,
this
right,
side.
on the right side of your mama.
Miss Johnson.
Johnson,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
keep her home,
Mhm.
My
What's
dad
the-
loved
Huh?
yard work. He
What's that?
loved his
Yeah,
yard.
but
My
still,
father.
they got-
He
I don't know,
one
we
time.
had that at one time that, we were doing. And boy, believe me, the people kept their yard up. They
Yeah.
really kept
Well,
their
how did
yard.
y'all start the association? The Unity Village, like, I call it association. How did y'all start that?
Well, because we was fighting for,
The school lines and stuff, where they were gonna
where,
do start.
where we were gonna go to school at, and, how can we get buses
What did y'all start your first meeting?
at Mrs.
McClammy?
No,
Brinkley?
Miss Brinkley House.
Brinkley.
Brinkley.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Brinkley House.
Oh, okay.
Where does she live?
She
She
lived,
lived on Cat.
Cat.
Street.
Okay.
see, at the time, the houses across Cap wasn't there.
Mhm.
It was only the houses on,
This side, if you come down Cap from Austin,
What was
the houses
one
were
she
on
had?
Monty.
Monty and.
Monty.
Yeah.
I thought Miss Brinkley came after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
see, their houses didn't come to maybe,
They was under UDI.
they come 5, 6 years later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because it's only those, 101 houses. Yeah, but
In,
now, the village consists
Annex
of,
to-
annex, it's about 150 houses in the village now.
cause it go as far as almost to the store on
Yeah,
Bacon.
yeah, at the time, the village,
Alright, Harris, alright.
village only went as far as the bridge on Bacon
Right,
Street.
right.
But now the city annexed all the way to, our.
Our
Harris.
Harris.
So it's from
Okay.
the bridge on Bacon all the way back to, was that Cat Street?
All the way
Yeah,
back to,
Cap,
Cap Street.
corner Cap and Bacon is where it stopped.
That's where we did the map and included all of that. Yeah.
So just, we first moved there.
Did anyone have fruit trees? We
No
had
one had
palm
no
trees.
fruit trees.
We had-
Mrs.
we had
Fulton
palms.
had a pear tree in the yard, but,
We had a
Mr.
palm
Fulton had the pear tree. His wife complained so much about bees, so he cut it down.
A lot of children used to come out yard, we had a palm tree right in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, now we walk the trail in the park. We walk the trail and I see people out in the morning time, sometime walking their dog. So that has improved in our neighborhood too. Gives you an incentive to go and walk in your neighborhood and everything, yeah, in the
Oh,
park.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they put a trail in the park. That
Yeah,
was-
we
that
put a
was
trail.
something
Mhm, mhm.
When did we get the sign at the entrance? 'Cause I
They
know
had
we
2 or 3
there was
signs
no-
now.
I know, but the very first, you know, at just.
Enter the unit, yeah.
Because when we first moved there, there was no sign saying this was.
We had that, built.
That's
And,
about the second or third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I-
it's not down.
Bank at the time built it, it cost us about $300, if
Mhm.
I'm not correct.
Mhm.
But now you're advancing zone.
We had a brick one at Austin Avenue. And Mario had built us a wood one on Bacon Street.
Mario McClammy.
Yeah, and we had, it was beautiful.
Mm.
And
City,
some, the city tore it down.
yeah.
Mm.
City.
I remember when they were renovating the park and one of the kids, the guy would tell him, Mr. Chestnut, you gotta put a fence up. Can we get a fence? Cause the ball will always roll down the hill.
Right,
So
oh,
they
yeah.
would get a fence in there.
Mhm.
It's a Mario building, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mario built the time,
What building?
and he did a beautiful job. at
You
it,
built,
too.
you built it?
No.
Oh.
No, no. Mark and Mario.
He built it,
Yeah.
he built it,
Yeah,
painted
yeah, it was
and
nice.
put it up.
yeah. Mhm.
Down there, other than that, Bow and Harry.
No, right there at the
Right
bridge.
at the
But the
bridge.
bridge, okay.
You know, we had a respect for parents. Our parents went to work.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They went to work.
Yes, they did.
You saw them going to work
Yeah,
every
that's
day.
true, yeah. Everybody over there went to work. Yeah, they did. huh?
Well, like you said, we were proud and we wanted to keep our homes and stuff, so we went to work.
Mhm.
And we looked after each other, we looked after each other's kids.
Mhm.
There was nothing that, hey, you go home to your mama, or we go take you home.
Always
They
family
mind.
friendly.
Her mama didn't mind.
Didn't mind.
I'm taking you to your mama. She didn't mind that. You better not say,
Say nothing back.
you gave Miss Harris a word,
Funny, when you-
you got yourself to work.
Oh, no, I can't remember ever disrespecting anyone.
Well,
else.
me either.
That's
Never.
Think about it.
That's right.
You don't show me.
Ah,
Right, you even think,
Right.
you did what they
And,
said.
and Manna knew everybody in the neighborhood. Manna was since the first day. None of them hot dog.
Cause she was on her bicycle.
No.
And we played a lot outside. There was so many of us outside on the street till we all knew when the street lights came on.
That's right, it's time to go. Yeah.
Played all day though. We
Yeah,
stayed outside.
Y'all come down in your hearts out here, that was a favorite hill. We had to
Yeah,
skate,
Yeah,
with
because
your
you
bicycle.
could roll,
So you
you
just
roll around
roll
Hampton,
down.
go all the way
All the way
down.
down. You come back up.
Where was most of the people working, like, when people who were working, like, that was one of the
They
questions
had,
around.
they worked at,
Dude.
The
Dude,
hospitals,
and
and we all had to
Yeah.
go to Ross Hospital.
Tobaccos.
Taking by.
we had very few. We had, in the community, we had very few that worked at Lincoln Myers, very few.
Now, just think about it, and then, your mom was entrepreneur, because she had her own daycare.
My mom started off working at Operation Breakthrough.
Yeah.
Well, she, worked in the community, and when it came to voting, they would go around and pick up the elderly in Bahama, Ridgemount, that was her, Ridgemont, and that was her job, and she decided to go in the business herself, to have a daycare. So we started with a daycare in, I'm gonna say it in 73. And we went to Yancey Street.
Yes, right.
Come,
And then
come
they,
to,
then they built on a room on the house.
Yeah,
That was.
mhm.
and we
That's-
believe in voting, because we fought to move our precinct. And moving our precinct, I become precinct chair. And, we fought hard to get it over at Aaron Harris. And believe me, Unity Village really was a voting community. All those parents voted.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
It'd be crowded down that burden.
Yeah, it'd be, well, Aaron Harris.
Then it got moved to
Then we.
Campbell Hill. They started
Capitol was built
building.
later.
Right.
Yeah, we,
I remember
Aaron
Campbell Hill being built.
Holmes.
Mhm.
Or they
most
named
of,
after
a
him.
lot of the parents, that lived in Unity Village.
So how y'all get Mike all the way to Rogers Hair for UV?
Maybe one year he had gone over there, because we lived on the west end.
Okay.
And then he didn't want to come to Shepherd, so we let him go.
Okay.
But Miss
Say
Holmes,
it.
back in the day, we went to community schools.
Yeah,
was in their
that's in your community, that was the school you went to.
So to apply, now they have the magnet program, or you have to apply for these schools.
Right,
And
right.
I think this was kind of missing in community. It's has children, like with my son, all his friends went to different schools, and so did he. So we have a community schools.
Mhm, they don't-
So he went to Aaron Harris, but he had a choice to go, I had to apply, whatever.
That makes
we
me
went
why
to
he was
Mississippi.
so tight.
And another thing too, those parents, they went to PTA meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They
yeah.
went to
Oh, yeah.
PTA meeting.
Yes.
The PTA meeting, everybody, Unity Village parents were there. They went to those meetings now. They didn't play with that.
Unity Village is practically the same age.
Right.
Right.
Because,
We had waves.
in the,
Yeah, way right.
many a time that
Junior high now, high school.
I would be at one school, my wife would be at another school, and Mr. Valentine would be at one
Same with
school,
us.
your mother would be at another school.
Parents.
But y'all had so many children, it was that same stuff. They just look like lying each other.
And that always happened, that they meet on
Yes.
the same night, so
Mhm.
you have to go one, you have to go someplace.
Right.
And don't let it be a Christmas program.
They showed out the.
One of the best one, the student would go to the Christmas program where the band students was just starting.
Oh, I had no choice. And my kid was just learning to play at home. That's where I had to go. She won't go into her there.
Now I'm going where they already went.
Yeah, all the Chestnut children do band.
We did everything.
I know, everybody did, all the Valentine's Day band.
It wasn't had a blue. You know, the teachers pride, they took pride in going to school
Sure
and
did.
find out about their kids.
That's
I mean,
right.
you see a lot of those parents over there that, you know, the school talking about those principals and the teachers and want to find out, you know, that was the thing, that because we didn't skip school. I don't know where the kids get that skipping school from.
They had truancy.
Huh?
If you
Yeah.
did, a truancy officer.
But I think we
Yeah,
had.
no,
we
you
were
skip
afraid
school,
of
you got
our
the behind me. We're gonna say that the parents in Unity Village had a lot of pride,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we cared about where we lived at.
Mhm.
We want to make sure that Unity Village would not go down like some of the other communities that.
Right,
that
right.
still were. We were
That's right.
determined to keep Unity Village up.
Mhm.
We were determined that if you had a bad screen, though, we're gonna tell you about it.
Yeah.
We were determined to make sure that we didn't have a lot of crime.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of stealing going on in the neighborhood. We always wanted someone to tell us, if someone, if we got crime in there, we was gonna tell the cop. We didn't mind telling the cop. We didn't mind calling the cop. So we stuck together on that to make sure that we make sure that we was a unit, that we worked together. and
I think what I like is
kept-
the network. If something's
network,
going on, you
yeah.
guys are gonna call. And then I think somebody called Daddy yesterday to say something. Did you,
Something happened
did you
in the
know
park.
something happened in the park? You know, and it's just. and it
Yeah,
just
something happened in
flows.
the park. I don't know.
Y'all did y'all social media before social media.
Remember they had private out there, you hear like conversation.
Right.
And then you have a telephone number, and we bought our telephone 919-596-2256. And we brought that connected to carriers, and we brought it down to Unity Village. That was our main line, and that my mama kept that number for so long.
Yes.
But then they come in with the cable stuff and everything. No, she's not gonna change that number. We won't forget it. No, we're gonna keep that number. That was mama's number. That was that that number that my mama had for
I was 596
and years. And you won't forget that. 596-2256 was that number for
That's
that.
right.
And when they changed that mess up, like, I know they didn't change mama's number. Yep, and they changed it cause of the cable thing. They was putting all this in here. And they changed my mama's
We had a lot, we had a lot. of
We had to
pride.
write it down to keep the number right.
No,
Give them a
right.
call.
Yeah, then over the years, you know, say, what you did with the village,
Mhm.
then we changed to UV, then we live in the village. It was a man, we would just say different names.
Same thing.
UV, village, the village, everything.
A lot of neighborhoods of, then, you had Fisher Heights,
That's right.
Osview Heights,
Mhm.
Unity Village,
That could later on, Collier Heights. and White House,
all
all
this
this
stuff.
much later.
Yeah, much-
Okay.
what else was that later?
That was later, 'cause they was
Later.
later on.
Fisher Heights.
Fisher
Heights,
Heights
they
was
got
one of the ones that was with Unity Village, the same village.
What, the Collier Heights came later.
That was later.
And what's the neighborhood behind UV over there, where Reverend Covington them stay at? You know, you go down there in a hard side, going down, you make that right in that neighborhood, that
Leonard
neighborhood right there.
Nana place.
Wood.
Oh, yeah, that was real late.
Wood. Oh,
That
yeah.
was real late.
That was real.
We knew our friends, where they stayed, we stayed
Oh,
in
we did.
Medjugorje, we stayed in Cornwallis,
Mhm.
you know, on Fisher Heights, Forest Heights, Unity Village.
Mhm.
That was, you know.
And then we
yeah,
all went to the illustrious Hill side
It
too.
was, yes, we were all, I graduated. Yes, I,
We
81.
He was saying, I think you.
That's beautiful.
For the kids coming out of Unity Village, didn't mind, said, we come out of Unity Village.
Right.
We fought hard to be proud to be a kid coming out of Unity Village.
Yes.
And so we try to continue to maintain that as of today.
Yeah.
So if someone said we come out of Unity Village,
Sure.
like Ms. Valentine said, at the time, the housing was only $14,000, and they did 2 and 3, $4,000. So
Right.
we literally changed the neighborhood from,
The value.
what you call it,
Low income.
for actually a poor neighborhood to a more, middle class
class,
neighborhood.
right.
Yeah.
We really changed it.
Yeah.
But one of the
To
things,
that.
because like, I know some of us, we've all moved out, but you all have really kept that unity.
The unity.
Because we
Means a lot.
still, right now, you all have that Christmas party.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that.
Ready.
The Christmas party this Saturday.
This Saturday, yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything, because they
Let-
kept
let
me up.
Sandra
I let
do it.
these two-
Say, I'm leaving.
I let these two- let these-
Oh, we got down in the army, okay. Yes, we have our Christmas, and this is the annual Christmas party.
And
It's always been a lot to do about the Christmas party,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been going on for years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the one that's coming up now
Mm-hmm.
is
It's coming up now,
it's on
coming up, it's coming Saturday.
December 3rd.
Saturday.
December 3rd.
It's 6 o'clock.
Third.
And we look for everyone to come and enjoy us, come out and celebrate. And this, what is it? UNITY, unity. We're coming together as a community, do what we do, and we're bringing it out downtown Durham, where we are going to show you what we have. And I'm gonna try to be the MC. I'm
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Beverly Thompson from the city.
yes,
Yeah.
she will be our speaker.
Yes.
7
Yes,
times.
indeed.
And we look.
What do y'all think, where y'all see Unity Village, what we're working on, where y'all see Unity Village in the future? Because the good thing is a lot of us, still have on the home.
Yes, right.
And cause I come home, when I come home, I get to come home.
Because the bad part, we have lost a lot of our.
We lost, practically all of our older people that moved in the Union Village, original. It's only maybe 2 or 3 of them are still alive.
And that's
It's not too many of them alive now.
Amen.
I think
I think quite a few of the children kept the house and stuff. didn't they?
we kept the
Yeah.
house, but it's just a few of us still alive, like Mrs. Valentine is still alive.
Mhm.
I'm still kicking,
Praise
and
God.
it ain't too many more of us there.
Mhm. When
Still
First
kicking
come in
that,
here around that time,
yeah.
like you say from 69 to 70.
Yeah,
that's when
yeah.
we were
Yeah.
coming.
That moved in 69.
Mhm.
Jay, what's the name you said, 90 something, what's the name you found out?
Her something, sister.
Oh, my sister, Elmina, something
Elmira,
on Bacon Street.
On
She's
Bacon Street.
91.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
She's born in 1931.
I didn't even
believe
know
that,
like that.
y'all told us.
Oh, yeah, she
91.
thinks she's 18. Oh, yeah,
Huh?
yes, yes. She
You don't look 91 at all.
So there's only a few of us-
And Roel,
They're over
they're in the
90.
80s and 90s.
so there's only a few of us that
Mhm.
moved in
Mm.
1969 that's still
Still,
alive.
right.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I say that because even I say it's the older, the seasoned, that's still
Yes,
keeping the unity.
Mhm.
Right.
Because the young ones that's moving in don't quite have that same unity
Mhm.
feel
Mhm.
that we used to have. And I look at it because, y'all still have meetings and they don't come.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
we tried.
By the time something happens,
Yeah.
then we
They'll
figure out
call
who do we
it.
call in the community?
Mhm. Mhm.
And you
But
all
at
are
least
still
they
meeting,
can
you
call
all are
somebody
still
from the
meeting monthly. You
Exactly.
all are still meeting monthly. We almost 54, no, 53, 53 years old.
Mhm.
And you all are still meeting every month.
And you're putting it out there, and then they really don't have to come to a place, just get on.
Call
the
them.
phone
Yeah.
and sit there and enjoy it. Just sit there in your own homes and listen to whatever
Right.
things going on and everything. And it is a blessing because one of the things, like I was saying, like for Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
our pastor had, where like he's saying, we're gonna do something. Everyone, before you do, all right, let's meet over the phone. As one of the best things you ever could have. We had church over the phone and it made your day just like, okay, I can get started with this. But you got to start somewhere. If that's what we got to do, you do what you have to do. That's what it's all about and everything. But we put it out there. It's up to you if you want to be part of it and everything. We do what we can.
Yeah.
And that's why you only have a few to do what need to be done and stay together and do what we can. And that's what it's all about.
We
It's
work,
all
we
together.
don't stop.
And we work together as a team. And that team, you ask for God to help us to continue to strengthen us to do what we need to do. And that's the only way it's gonna be.
That's why you got to pray in the park.
Yes,
So
that's
pray
why
over
we
there.
do, we have our national night out.
Mhm.
We did see a little more diversity.
Yeah, we
The people
did.
did
Mhm.
come out and kind of mingle with us and
That's right
everything.
out, this
But we-
August was a lot.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
It was
that
really
was
nice.
really
It was
nice.
really nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
for the
see the
rest-
diversity in the neighborhood
Mhm.
and
Well,
everything.
For the last couple of years, we didn't have, prayer in the park,
Oh,
and I sort of missed
Come
that.
COVID.
oh, yeah, yeah. COVID.
But, That's one thing that we had and that we was proud of.
I used to have this saying when we had storms everywhere and my power, everybody else power went out. Your all's power never went out. I said, y'all over there praying for that during your. Power didn't go out.
There was always one thing about it, when, just like you were saying, if everybody else likes us over, we can always go to mama.
Always go to
Mama-
Mama.
And mama be saying, oh, stop calling people, find out what it, mama just loved us
Yeah,
being
she
there.
did.
And she didn't.
Yep.
Get off, don't be paying, turn them lights and stuff on, but they never lost.
They never lost
They power was
power.
always on. Like I said, I go to mama's house.
Yeah,
There's always a favorite.
Down the street, North Carolina Central lose power,
Uh-huh. Mhm.
and my dad would say, if y'all lose power, because he had a fireplace in the back.
Yeah.
You know, every time, every storm, y'all. See what's some chicken and duck. Y'all just come on over here.
Pray in the park, and it was a wonderful thing. We talked about it again this year, but since COVID hit,
Yeah.
we didn't want to. So
Say.
perhaps
It's
things
all
get
right.
better next year, we'll start it back.
Right.
Well, I want to say, I came out of Unionville. I didn't move far. I moved in South Austin. So now I'm proud of Austin Heights and Bryant Heights community. So they have a, Southeast Community Council where, you know, the other neighborhoods is
Yeah.
not as big as Unionville Village. So it's like 5 neighborhoods into one. And so we also is having a Christmas party, you know, I think the tickets are 15. And that's, December 10th.
December 10th.
It's gonna be at Campus Hill. It's only gonna be for a few hours, couple of hours, I think from like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. And
Two,
so we have
12,
other communities outside
12:30
of,
to
you know,
2.
Unity Village
Mhm.
that, you know, they still come together, but
Mhm.
we are all one community.
Right, right.
Exactly, yeah, one community. So
We have 1 minute, the gentleman, to kind of wrap it up. Who wants to say some last few words? 'Cause so other things to talk about, like the time, Mrs. Fortune House caught a fire, y'all still remember all that? It's a lot.
I would like to say that I'm very proud to be in Unity Village. I'm very proud at how the community come together and how the community stay together and how we work together and how we continue to work together. And I hope that we continue to do that,
another 50?
in the future.
Yes, we have also gotten others to really believe now that teamwork
That's right.
Yes.
makes the dream work.
All right.
And we will see you Saturday night.
Looking forward to it. Yes, yes. It's a blessing.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you for everyone for joining us today. I wish I were in the room. I'm sure most people that are watching feel the same way. And best of luck at your Christmas and holiday parties coming up, because those also sound amazing. Thank you for everyone who's joined us today. I do want to give a quick plug for some of our other recordings for people who are watching this. We have done one previously on McDougall Terrace, so if you have a chance to watch that one. And as always, thank you to the City of Durham and the community engagement team for helping us to pull this together, and for people like you, Mr. Chestnut, and all of your neighbors in Unity Village for working with us and sharing your stories.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.